Come here now, girl.
Hello and welcome to WhatMap, your one-stop shop for everything workshop. I'm BonBonB and you're very welcome. Right, now we're going to lead with a bridesmaid. Well, certainly the last time they were on the show, they were the bridesmaid. Do you remember Morro Bay by Sidai? More importantly, do you remember what we followed it up with? Yes, the other Morro Bay map. Well, that creator, who didn't do a bad job, but basically compared to the Sidai, it was awful. Anything would be, wouldn't it? They're back with another real-life take of a real-life location. One little thing about today's map, which isn't real-life, but I find it charming, and I'll let it be. Today's second map, being voted in by the BonBon Buddies over on Patreon, I spotted on the workshop a long while back. It's a mountain map, which is a little bit playable, and looks like it could be a bit of fun too. But before we do any of that, we'll start with the daily reminder. That's right, clicking that like button really does support the channel, gets me seen by more people and helps me grow a little bit more every single day. Thank you for your support. Today's first map is Mercer Island by Complex. Okay, so Mercer Island, we are Pacific Northwest, we're just a little bit inland from Seattle. There you go, there's your start square. That looks very neat, very nicely framed, and a little harbour thing in there as well, a jetty type thing there. We've got terrain heights, which are based on the real-life location, apart from one little bit. We'll get to that later. The resources are definitely good and strong, and should be really good for a good gameplay. And then if you've got Sunset Harbour and you want to do some fishing, it's mostly anchovies and salmon. Mostly. Okay, off to the workshop. What do we need? Well, you do need mass transit, otherwise the game won't load. Park Life and Industries are also listed, but it won't be broken, but it will be missing a little bit of detailing. There's also a link to the theme and LUT, which is at the collection at the top there, where the base is the SET Nature Reserve, also the Italian coast and the Revi 4K, along with the LUT of Relight Neutral 2 in the more Relight LUTs pack. Except for it's not. And the amount of times I see Relight Neutral 2, it's not. It's Relight Natural 2. Okay? So, I mean, I'm not dropping anybody any points from this. And for the longest time, I've been paranoid about, am I using the right LUTs when people put Neutral 2? It's not Neutral 2. There is a Relight Neutral, but Relight Natural 2 is the... Look, you're doing my head in, guys. You're doing my head in. Which is why I make the show as cheesy as I can to make your life as difficult. No, I'm just joking. Anyway, down to ground level. Okay, this is a very nice map for anybody who wants a nice map for a nice city build with some nice shapes that you could base upon the real life location. Little tree on the underside there. Do you know what? On my first fly over this, I didn't notice these two trees. These are exceptions to the rule, okay, on today's map. You won't see many of those at all. So there we go. But yes, if you want to recreate Mercer Island and the Mercer Island area, it does feel like a very good... Oh, did you see that? That little break in the rail there? That is deliberate. And we'll come back to that later. We will. Okay, so yes, it's the highways and the rail all seem to follow very close to the real paths of the actual highways and the rail within the Mercer Island area. So if you're looking to recreate this, I mean, you may... I didn't check to see, but I'm pretty sure this isn't a 3-lane highway running through this area. So you may want to upgrade or downgrade roads to make them work if you're doing a true recreation. The entire map isn't exactly set for a true recreation. Again, that's one little point on the map which is very obviously not true to scale and true to life, but we'll get to that, and I don't mind it being there. Okay, it's fine. It's easily fixed as well. If you don't like it, it's very easily fixed. But I kind of do. In the quirky kind of way. You know me, I don't mind a little bit of quirky. Anyway, intersection time, elevated roundabout over highway. Looks very nice. Some very nice detailing going on there. A little bit of foliage on the highway, which you can see from the vanilla vegetation just creeping through on the underside there, but there's not too much of it. Nice to see a little use of a billboard there. Just adds a little bit of colour, I guess. Just a little bit. And then we are heading off, doing a little bit of island jumping. I didn't check this bridge to see whether it was suspension. I don't believe it is, but I didn't check it. Certainly the next one is not suspension. A little sunken boat there. Would it be a Cities Skylines map without a sunken boat here and there? And the answer is, well, probably not. Anyway, we're now on to the island itself, and we have our start square intersection, which is very tidy. Gonna do absolutely fine. You may find your traffic might clog up here a little bit later on, but certainly in terms of getting started, this is all very nice. Good heights, very realistic feeling, and this branch road just heading off down through the island, leading into our start square, giving us all this nice area. Like in, oh hang on, what have we got here? A bit of logging, a little bit of logging there. But yes, we've got some nice little bit of field painting down here to break the island up. So if you don't want to do a regular, just big old grid city, you can use those to help shape your city just a little bit. Big fan of that. I've said it many a time. Maybe I need to do a special tutorial on how to do it properly. Maybe I need to learn how to do it properly. Anyway, the highway continues this way. Now, there's a tiny little grumble going on down here with the tunnel entrance. As we head down here, you see the tunnels just go upwards rather than level or even down a little bit. So, yes, just a slight elevation of the tunnel. That's easily fixed. Grab the nodes and just drop them a couple of knobbles there. And it emerges over here. Now, this here is definitely not a suspension bridge in real life. I've checked this. This is the Highway 90 heading in towards Seattle. Seattle is just over there, just over the water. Big old city. We won't be able to see it because it's off the edge of the universe. Right, okay, let's have a little look at the rail. Now, the rail does, we've got a lovely rail connection here. You won't see any through trains because you already know that the rail is deliberately broken. Now, I think the rail follows the correct route. I've got no problem with that. But why is it broken? Well, I've had a little look in Google Earth, Google Maps, and I don't know whether this rail line is active still in I didn't follow it this far. Oh, look at the beautiful lush, I mean proper lush detailing of the rail line down here. I don't mind a little bit of encroaching foliage on the rail. We can survive that. But that is very sweetly done. But yes, I haven't checked to see whether the rail line is active in this area. But further down, certainly where you're going to see a little bit of elevated rail, which I will grumble and tut about a little bit about. In that area, it has been converted to a walkable, it's a walk. They've removed the rail in certain parts of it. Certain parts of it, I've noticed that the rail is still down. But yes, this area around here, and certainly when we're going to go across the water in a moment, it doesn't do this. It very much follows the terrain. There we go. That's what it is. It follows the terrain. The terrain follows the terrain. And so yes, I mean it's more or less follows the route. We can allow for a little bit of wiggle there. But yes, so there's no through trains here. The way that it's broken here, I don't feel it really needed to be broken here. And you're going to go, yeah, but then you're going to get through trains. No, you won't. No, you will not. Because if you have a look right back where we started, I mean, this is literally where we started, it doesn't actually connect to the edge of the map. So it didn't need to be broken, but I guess there is a broken part in real life because there was literally just a walkable path where there were indeed once train lines. Now, what about shipping? Right, now I don't know whether we actually get any ships up into this area. Definitely does connect up via waterways and such to Seattle Bay and all that sort of area. But we do have this loop. Now, first of all, I wouldn't have had a loop. I would just had one little route in, maybe two routes in, not connecting. But this one here, the bridge here is in state of elevation. The bridge looks a bit awkward and clunky here. what I would have done is I probably would have run it through maybe about there or the next one across, just to get us a little bit away from the land. And anyway, the bridge, it might be a little bit low, possibly. I've not checked, but just a minor grumble there. Water flow in the start square. Doesn't appear to be an awful lot of water down here, but we do have a long stretch of waterfront, so you could draw from one side and pump to the other. There is, however, a little bit of moving water, right? So you go, how about we put the on the outside of here? Yeah, but the water is actually flowing around the outside slightly. So if you pump your sewage out the other side of that, maybe you could draw from the other side of that. Maybe that would work. Yeah, I think it would. Yes, stick your water pumps on the other side of there, just to get started until you can move around. Anyway, nice looking island. It's a good sized island. I would say almost an ideal sized island for the perfect city. So there's that. I'm going to give that. That is for me probably perfection in terms of the perfect size of island. And very flat as well, so it's good for the city build. And then we've got all this lovely area around here if you want to break out and do some stuff out here with small towns and a bit of industry and all that sort of thing. I think that is a very nice landscape to work with as well. In terms of detailing, this is right at the edge of the map, but isn't she lovely, the Essential Lighthouse? Yeah, that's very nice. That's very nice. I have no moans about that. And we have this jetty. We have already seen the jetty, but I thought it was too good not to come back and have another little look at said jetty. It's very well done jetty. So, well done, Complex. We got these. I've not checked in real life what these are. These are obviously some sort of clearly harbours of some description. But yeah, they look underworked, but I think that they'll do. They will do. Not everything has to be worked to this level. This is beautifully done. It's everybody's favourite factory. With some sidings and the rail coming up through a nice little cutting there. Lots of very nice work going on here. Now remember I said about DLCs. What you'll be missing if you don't have Industries DLC is some fencing. There's this fence here, which is an Industries DLC fence. And if we jump across to the farmland, you see these fences down here. These are also Industries DLC fences. It won't break the game. The game should load fine, but you will be missing some fences. I wouldn't worry too much. Park Life. You said Park Life, didn't you, BonBon? I did say Park Life. Now, there is also this fence down here on the roundabout and just being used as a road median in a couple of places. Yeah, that's the Park Life fence. And without Park Life, you'd be missing those fences. You don't need them, but they are recommended for the full beauty of it. Now, what is that mountain over there? Okay, if you go far enough in that kind of direction, I think is it Olympic Park or Olympia Park? I read it about 10 hours ago, all right? There are mountains off in this direction, but there aren't any here, okay? This is the little, we'll allow it, okay? I'm just going to allow it. I don't mind it as background. It's not, from a distance, it's not the weirdest looking mountain, although it is a weird looking mountain. As a background, it's not bad. So we've got that water flow going on there. We've got a weird lake. How that would evolve in that location, I do not know. And up here, we've got some kind of site of scientific interest. I really don't know. What I can tell you is the view from up here is stunning. What a view of the city from up here you would have. I like that. I like it a lot. I don't have a problem. Now, the thing is, what a view you've got there. What is there in real life? Well, that would give you a really nice view as well. And that is the airport. You might want to flatten it before you build the airport. Now, trees. We are more or less on the tree limit here. So any tree detailing you want to do, you're going to have to do some clearing to free up some tree resources. Or, of course, you could use Tree Anarchy, which will give you as many trees as you could ever use, more or less. Yes, it's very nice, isn't it? It's a very... This from the same creator who made that other Morro Bay map. But the question is, do you like it as much as me? Is it a 1-star map? Is it a 5-star map? Is it somewhere in between? Your vote really does count. We use it at the end of the month for the Viewers' Choice Top 10. Will this be one of the top 10 maps of the month? Only you can decide. Hit the I button now, or the link in the description. It'll take you to the voting page where you can vote for free. But make sure you're voting on Mercer Island by Complex. What do I think of Mercer Island by Complex? Well, I think I like this. I like this. Even this monstrosity of a mountain used as a background like thing is, do you know what? It kind of works, sort of. I think overall, could I go higher if it wasn't here? I probably could, maybe, but also I don't know. I'm gonna go for middle 4. I think this is a winner. Very nice. Detailing, very strong standards across the whole. I think I would have liked it to be a little bit more close to real life for the standards to be a little bit higher, but there's nothing really wrong with it, and I think we can go also middle 4. Gameplay potential feels very nice indeed. Whether you want to recreate the area or just do your own city build, that island is the perfect size and a really nice shape too. I'm going to do it again. Middle 4. Middle 4's down the ground. You may get some traffic flow issues when your city starts growing, but you'll find a way around it because you're a great city builder and also a great appreciator of the BonBonB seal of approval. Very nice. But the big question is, will today's second map live up to the standards of today's first map? And so on with today's second map, and I promise you it's much better than it would appear from first glance. It's been voted in by the BonBon buddies over on Patreon, and it's a map that I saw a long while ago, and I looked at it and I thought, do you know what, this has got some very nice shapes in it. Admittedly, the standards are not the highest. There are some grumbles and gribbles with it, but it does have an interesting shape that maybe you throw in some new themes and LUTs, it could turn into something a bit special. Are you ready? Here we go. Today's second map is Scandinavian Chill by Joakim Chef Lundström. Okay, is that Chef from the Muppets? It might be, you know. Well, thanks, Joakim. This is very much appreciated. There's your start square. Start square is very workable. Okay, again, at first glance, it looks a bit clunky. The map is, at first glance, clunky. Plenty of buildable space, though. There's actually a lot of flat land here for a mountain, fantasy mountain sort of map. Strong resources, so if you're looking to play a resource game, you are going to be good and golden here. And then if you've got Sunset Harbour and you want to do some fishing, we have plenty of options with little fishies too. Okay, off to the workshop. What do we need? Well, it's 100% vanilla, 100% DLC free, and 100%...
It's my first map.
That's right. So, it's just an interesting map. Right. Now, in terms of standards, right, we are going to talk about trees under the roads. I get this out of the way good and early. If you're watching this and you're going, well, I loaded this map, it didn't have any trees under the road, and this is your first show, you wouldn't have heard me say before that this is an anarchy setting that I use with the mods to see just how many trees there are tucked underneath the roads. And there are a few today, okay? The trees are there, whether the roads are there or not. But so you might find the roads a little bit hard to follow, but again, anarchy settings can allow for the trees to be hidden under those roads, and so you can imagine that this road is completely tree free. It's absolutely fine, but I like to show it so that at least you know you have the information before you load the map. Nice little thing coming up here, which I'm pretty sure is deliberate, is the split layer in split tier heights there in the highways. They deliberately drift apart and then they come back together. I think that's a deliberate move. Again, it's slightly clunkily done, but I think it was a deliberate move. And given that this is a fantastical map, we can expect some fantastical routes. Now, a few of you may be looking, going, hang on, are these elevated at ground level? Because they've got like shoulders, these, haven't they? Fences along the sides. And the answer is, well, no. Those fences, they are the sound barriers. It's an interesting choice to go with the sound barriers. I have no problem against it. But it's just following the route. But where did this road go? It's gone basically almost completely underneath. If there's trees, you've got road under it on this map. But again, it's not something I have a huge problem with because it's a 100% vanilla map. No DLC required, no assets required, none of those trees would be seen by the sort of player that would want to load this map up. So it's not something I have the hugest problem with. Ideally, they want to be removed though, because I mean, they're meaningless. These trees, they just would not exist. Anyway, highway intersection heading down towards our start square. Really do like the start square intersection here as well. Again, it's not the most polished thing, but I like the shape of it. It works in the environment. They've actually thought about what they're doing here. Everything there. Also, we've got the tier heights as well between the two highways are separated to allow for a slick exit. It's actually, like I'm telling you, it's better than it looks, this map. It just looks clunky. Again, partly because of its age. I mean, it's not super old, but I think, was it 2019 from memory? Again, I'm trying to remember what I was looking at 10 hours ago. And but yes, so it's from a few years back, but it still holds up a little bit in the basic design. We've got a bit of an up and over on the rail, and the rail's going to make some interesting choices. All right. First of all, don't mind a slight incline on a slightly fantastical map, and this is a slight incline on a slightly fantastical map. Let's follow it, shall we? This isn't too bad. I mean, but think Playmobil. This is a Playmobil railway. That's fine. Then we've got a nice little junction here. I really like this junction as well. I'm just less interested in this. That is less believable for me. I could deal with that first one coming up. Not so sure on the second one. Then we've got a slight drop back down, just a gentle-ish, slight droops down there too. Well, what I think we could have done with the rail is we could just stuck to the flat, could we not? Like from here, all the way around here to here, we could have done that. Did we need to go up into the mountains? I mean, maybe we did. Maybe there's a more interesting route we could take. Then we got the bridge, and we got a few trees. Yes, they've got their trunks on, just like that. There are a few swaths of trees. Let's say the standards. I'm saying I like the shape of the map. I'm saying that I like the design of the map. I think it's an interesting map, and there's plenty of space that you could build into for an interesting city build. I'm not saying it's polished. I'm not claiming that. I'm not claiming it. But the overall design, pretty neat. Pretty neat. Now the question is, what about shipping? Right, well, what about shipping? I think we should have a look at shipping. Shipping's going to do something interesting. All right, well, once I can get me shipping up, and there we go, that's what I'm trying to do. Heading down here for the shipping. Shipping's going to do something interesting, and it's going to tell you something about the map making process by this particular map maker. We follow the shipping route. We're going to go quite close to these islands. We're going to go very close to these islands. In fact, we're going to go a little bit too close to these islands, which tells me one thing. These islands were an afterthought. They got the shipping routes down, and yes, they're slightly pointy, but yes, those islands were put in as an afterthought after the shipping routes were put in. Highly recommend the last things that you do to draw in your shipping routes and your air routes. Do all those things. They don't need to be done to the very end anyway, do they? Yeah. Anyway, water flow in the start square. We have some. That's fine. There's just about enough water there with the movement to make sure that your citizens will be very happy. And then you have the map, which is, like I say, there's plenty of buildable space here. Okay, in amongst these mountains. It breaks it up nicely. This could become, why it's called the Scandinavian chill. This could almost become a Japanese style build. Looking to do a Japanese city on a map with plenty of buildable space. You could do it on here. You could. You really could. Field painting. Do you know what? Whilst this is not the most realistic, I think this map needed this. I think this actually adds to the map. Without this, the map is kind of just a mess of islands and rivers and stuff. And that's a lovely focal point. Aesthetically, that takes the map up a notch. Not a huge notch, but a notch. And I'm approving of it. Ah, the essential lighthouse right alongside another essential lighthouse over there. Well, not directly alongside, right alongside these drowned trees. So this one's Uber diving. Uber dive. It almost works out, isn't it? Have I got any tree puns for underwater trees? I don't know, but yes, we have got these islands. They're a weird set of shapes and not my favourite part of the map, but again, are definitely usable, and there's going to be some people there that are really going to like them. Then we have the rivers, and the rivers are very nicely done fantasy style rivers. We've got some very strong waterfalls on here as well, so we just head up into the mountain there. Oh, did I mention we're using the vanilla tropical theme and the realistic 1.2 LUT today? I don't think I did. So yes, imagine what this map could look like with a custom theme and LUT. Well, we're using custom LUT, but you know what I mean? Custom theme and a different LUT. This map could really pop as something special, especially with all the trees missing from underneath the roads as well. We could be, we could be looking at a really, really very nice map indeed. Let's move away from the middle. Okay, if you're playing vanilla, you won't have access to any of this area here because it's outside of the 25 tiles. But there's a lot of space out here for those of you that do want to do something out this way. Maybe a secret military base. I'm feeling it, you know. I'm feeling it. But yes, so we have all of this zoning out here that you could use with the 81 tile mod. But I think it's more about the middle of the map on this one. Not so sure about the hill on the right there. Don't like the shape of that hill. It doesn't quite fit in with the rest. It's a bit too round compared to the rest of the map. Has some sort of like leveled and chunky hills, and that one's a ruined hill. Anyway, what do you think of today's second map? Is it a 1-star map? Is it a 5-star map? Is it somewhere in between? Your vote really does count. We used it at the end of the month for the Viewers' Choice Top 10. Will this be one of the top 10 maps of the month? Only you can decide. Hit the I button now or the link in the description. It will take you to the voting page where you can vote for free. But make sure you're voting on Scandinavian Chill because there are 2 maps. Right, what do I think of Scandinavian Chill? Well, aesthetically, again, I do feel that it would look a whole star better with a custom theme. Not going to let it hold it back too much, and all told, I think it's a map with a design that, while I'm not a big fan of the islands, I think a few of them could be taken out and it could elevate the map a little bit. I'm going to go 3 stars. I'm going to go at the bottom end, but I don't think it's far from being pretty decent. Detailing is clunky. Is too clunky in places, even for a fantasy style map, and I feel it needs to elevate just a fraction. I'm going to go for a high 2. That's the biggest problem with the map. It's just a bit detail light in standards, you know. Gameplay, slap bang in the middle, right down the middle with 3 stars, and could be higher if there wasn't so much tidying up to do. Scandinavian Chill by Joakim Chef Lundström. That is much better than it appears. I kind of want to right now load it up with a custom theme and remove the trees. Use the anarchy settings to hide them under the road. I think the map would look a lot better. I think it would score a lot higher with you guys. But I have to show it as the workshop wants you to load it. Anyways, what do you think? Don't let me colour your judgment. Use the word of the day, mind you, if you're still here, to prove you're part of the 20 and out elite. You may, however, use the American spelling if you prefer. I don't mind. I'll let it be. I'll see you again very, very soon. Thanks for watching.